Audi showing off an R26 concept car. Cadillac keeping the real name secret for a Super Bowl commercial. Aston Martin calling it the first new car, but officially labeling it AMR26 like it's just another chassis. On paper, it's just a list of chassis names. In practice, it's a map of power, politics, and strategy for F1's new era. The year 2026 is being sold as the year zero of modern Formula One. Smaller, lighter cars, with a lot more electric power from the power unit. For engineers, it's almost a different category. But there's a strange contradiction here. In the biggest technical reset in F1 history, most teams are refusing to do a symbolic reset in their chassis names. They're keeping the same prefix, the same sequence, as if 2026 was just the next chapter of the same book. Why does that matter? Because these names are not born for TV graphics or press releases. They start life in design spreadsheets, in the factory's ERP system, in CFD reports. They're management tools. When a team decides to keep or break a pattern in 2026, it's sending a silent message about how it sees this new cycle. Alpine nailed it down as A526. Cold, bureaucratic. A500 is the family code, 26 is the year. That's how a group like Renault sees the project, as a product line. And that distance matches Alpine's current moment. Bad results, leadership changes, a confused narrative. Now put that next to Aston Martin's AMR26. On paper, same logic. Fixed prefix, year number. But the AMR26 is the first car designed under Adrian Newey's leadership. Nobody calls it the AMR26. They say, Aston's first Newey car. Notice the contrast. Alpine has a code that screams, corporate program, but no real story. Aston has a totally normal name and turns the context into an epic narrative. In Excel, the codes look similar. In the paddock, one is just another car. The other is the start of a new era. Look at Red Bull. RB22. Since 2005 it's been a near accounting sequence. RB1, RB2, RB3. The only anomaly was 2021, when the RB17 disappeared from F1. Disappeared? Not really. The RB17 exists as a track-only hypercar, a multi-million project designed by Newey himself. They reserved an entire number for a side product. So when they arrive in 2026 with the RB22, the message is clear. No theater about a new era. It's the natural evolution of a team that already dominated a hybrid era. Williams. FW48. FW comes from Frank Williams and has been there since the FW06 in the late 1970s. Decades have passed. Different owners, financial crises, a sale to an investment group, and the prefix stays intact. A permanent tribute and an anchor of identity. Mercedes. W17. The W stands for wagon and carries the heritage of the historic silver arrows, like Fangio's W196R. In 2025, a version of that car sold for more than £42 million. When Mercedes stamps W17 on a car in the middle of a rules reset, they're saying, we're not starting a new chapter. We're adding another line to a family tree that began before most of today's teams even existed. Haas with the VF26, McLaren with the MCL40, Racing Bulls with the VCA RB03. All the outfits with a consolidated identity are treating 2026 as a continuation. The silent message is, we trust our process. We don't need to put on a reboot show. Audi showed a concept labeled R26. Interesting for two reasons. First, it fits Audi's history in prototypes, like the R8, R10, and R18 Le Mans lineage. Second, R26 is, by coincidence or not, the name of the Renault chassis Fernando Alonso drove to his second title in 2006. If they stick with R26, they'll be connecting to their own history and giving a little wink to F1's collective memory. That's ironic, since Alpine is the team that inherited the legacy of champion Renault. Cadillac chose the opposite path. They didn't even reveal an internal code. The plan is to present the car in a Super Bowl commercial. The focus is not chassis X or Y. The focus is simply, the Cadillac Formula One car. It's 100% entry marketing. While Audi is flirting with a name that speaks to tradition, Cadillac is using F1 as a stage inside the biggest cultural product in the United States. And the strangest part is what is not happening. No one is using 2026 to make a radical cut in their naming prefix. No team has restarted its numbering. Nobody doing something like Mercedes going back to W01, or Ferrari ditching SF to stamp Hamilton's arrival. Even in the biggest technical earthquake of the modern era, the teams are communicating stability. The implicit message. The regulations are new, but our process is not a shot in the dark. So how do you actually use this? The number going up year by year is routine. Changing the prefix usually means a change in power. End of an owner's era, a title sponsor leaving, a shift in technical philosophy. MP4 becoming MCL after Ron Dennis is the classic example. If something like that happens after 2026, you can bet it's not just an aesthetic choice. That's the key insight. For the teams, the 2026 chassis is not the car of the new era. It's another item in a project sequence. FW48 after FW47, W17 after W16. In the middle of the biggest rules reset in history, they chose to sell continuity, not revolution. When a prefix dies or a pattern breaks, almost always it's because something big has changed behind the garage doors. And this is exactly the kind of detail we'll keep decoding here on the channel. What's behind the names, the numbers, the decisions that most people ignore but that reveal how F1 really works. If you like this kind of analysis that goes beyond the obvious and shows what most people don't see, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. The 2026 season is going to be the most transformative in decades, and we'll be here to break down every move, before, during, and after the races.